Why, hello there. I recently uploaded a 40-minute video breaking down the Blasphemous 2 reveal trailer. In it, I discussed tons of cool details and secrets in it that have me really excited for the potential of Blasphemous 2, but there is one topic in particular that I want to break out and discuss here. And that is the potential role of weapons in Blasphemous 2's platforming and exploration. The Nintendo Indie Showcase described the 3 weapons in Blasphemous 2.
Wield the War Sensor for slow but powerful flaming strikes, the Rapier and Dagger to attack with lightning-fast precision, and the Praying Blade for vicious and versatile combos.
In my trailer breakdown, I cover the different ways these descriptions come into play in the function and playstyle of the weapons, as shown in the trailer and newer footage from the official Blasphemous Twitter account. But something else I noticed as I explored the footage was how the weapons seem to play into the platforming and exploration. We see Penitente show off the new air dash move in the trailer, and what is notable is that the air dash is only shown being performed while the Rapier and Dagger is equipped. That includes footage of Penitente using the air dash to zip through these mirrors, a new platforming element for Blasphemous 2. On top of being traversed with the Rapier and Dagger out, the animation of Penitente zipping through the mirrors is a lightning bolt from which he emerges, wreathed in arcs of electricity. In the showcase, the Rapier was described as lightning fast, and was also shown in combat to have a special attribute related to lightning, similar to how the sensor is described as flaming and has fiery special moves. All of this starts to build a plausible theory that the air dash and this associated platforming element are associated with the Rapier and Dagger. Similarly, the Penitente only performs the plunging attack with the Praying Blade in hand, and the animation for the plunging attack has the same red energy/blood motif that the Praying Blade special moves have. The plunging attack also appears to serve a traversal function by destroying these columns blocking the path forward. Finally, the War Sensor is used to ring this bell. This is not as well supported because we only see this platforming element once, but it is possible that the sensor is needed to ring this bell to generate the platforms. What this all adds up to is the concept that certain weapons will be used to perform particular platforming challenges and bypass certain obstacles, which I dig because I personally like my tools in Metroidvanias to be multifaceted in their uses. In the case of the air dash and plunging attack, those moves have a role in combat as well as platforming and exploration. It broadens the design space that can be played in using those moves. And if these platforming elements are attached to a weapon, then enemy encounters as part of platforming segments can be a way to test players on their familiarity with the weapon in combat and or get the player thinking tactically about how to approach the encounter. I mean, that just sounds cool. Yet that is only one facet of the potential of this system. On the topic of switching weapons, it looks like it is a press of the button away, which brings with it some very cool combat and platforming possibilities. In this scene, we see here that Penitente swaps mid-jump from the Rapier and Dagger to the sensor and goes into an attack animation, slamming the sensor down on the enemy. This confirms that we will have access to multiple weapons at once, and I would suggest it's very likely all of the weapons are available at any time. And with it being the click of a button away, this suggests that you are expected to be able to do this very quickly and while you're on the move. We see here how it has some cool implications for swapping in combat, but it also hints toward the possibility of some intricate platforming challenges. In this room, we see Penitente perform a plunging attack. On the way down, we see both a silver platform dissipating and a mirror pointing up. With this possible system, there's a lot of potential for this room. This obstacle is in Penitente's way, and in order to get by it, he needs to use the Praying Blade to perform the plunging attack. In order to do that, he needs height. To get height, he needs to use the Rapier to zip through this mirror or mirrors, using air dashes until he reaches a bell not seen on screen here, but previously shown to generate the silver platforms we saw with its ringing. In order to ring this bell, Penitente needs to swap out the Rapier for the sensor, and then quickly make his way up the timed platforms to get close to the wall, where on the go he needs to switch to the Praying Blade to perform the plunge to break the obstacle that kicked all of this off. Again, it just sounds cool if this is true. It offers up a rich design space where different enemies can be strung together to create these varied platforming challenges and puzzles for exploration in which players need to deftly overcome various obstacles while seamlessly switching to the tool needed to do it. It's a much more kinetic sounding experience than the platforming in Blasphemous 1. And then you throw into the fray enemy encounters, and as discussed before, it becomes this intersection of platforming and combat that challenges the player on their understanding of these tools in both combat and platforming, while providing more tactically demanding enemy encounters. Now, again, this might not be true, so please don't set any expectations by this video, but it is certainly hinting at to a degree where, as watching the footage, this very neat sounding concept formed before me and sparked my imagination. And for those of you who are thinking about how it could be tedious to have everything separated out to the degree where you're constantly switching weapons, we already know this isn't the case. Wall climbing has been shown with multiple weapons, and the slide and jump are obviously remaining universal. Regarding the wall climb, this recent Blasphemous 2 Twitter post talks about unlocking the Ivy of Ascension to aid us in our journey. I'm not sure here if this means the wall climb is now something we unlock, or if this is something that improves our wall climbing capabilities. Either way, we see the framework established where there can possibly be weapon abilities and abilities innate to Penitente, and they can potentially all be improved. We do see different animations with the plunging attack, which was upgraded in Blasphemous 1 over the course of the game to be more effective and deal more damage. So there is a precedent set for this type of progression. And before I wrap this up, I wanted to mention the possibility that what were relics in Blasphemous 1 could also potentially be tied to weapons. The relics were generally forms of traversal abilities as well, and were used more situationally. In this scene, these rings held by Children of Moonlight function similarly to blood perpetuated in sand, and Penitente is wielding the seemingly blood-themed praying blade. I may be falsely connecting these together, but it makes sense to me that, assuming the weapons function how I've described, that the relics would function similarly. Regardless, I would love it in Blasphemous 2 if the relics, once unlocked, were something that were always easily accessible to use, versus the menu text that relics could be in Blasphemous 1, where you had to choose a few to have equipped at a time and would often have to pop into the menu to switch. That is at odds with the more fluid presentation of the platforming in Blasphemous 2, and was generally a bit inconvenient in Blasphemous 1. And there you have it, my speculation on how the weapons in Blasphemous 2 will bring the action to the platforming and exploration. If you enjoyed this, please give a like, and I highly recommend checking out my trailer breakdown, as it is filled with neat discoveries and speculation about how Blasphemous 2 will function. I would love to hear your opinions in the comments about the system I have speculated on, and what you think about the role of weapons in Blasphemous 2. And be sure to subscribe to the channel, as I will continue to cover Blasphemous 2, as well as Armored Core and Elden Ring. Lots of exciting stuff happening with those games in the coming months. But most of all, I hope you have a wonderful day, and thanks for watching.